Hello and welcome back, and if you've been watching the challenge for a while or even just the past couple of seasons, you know how TJ feels about quitters. Normally he says, don't take care, hope to see you never. Well, when watching these older seasons of the challenge on Paramount Plus, it got me thinking, how many quitters have there been in the challenge as a whole? And so I went into a deep dive. Now, this list is purely people who had the physical ability to keep going on through the season, but decided to withdraw or take themselves out of the season for one way or another. This list does not have anybody breaking the rules, having to be removed because they were medically injured or anything to that effect. So with that being said, let's jump into this video, starting with the first ever quit/withdraw from a challenge season, and that happened all the way back in season 6, Battle of the Sexes, where David decided to leave the game after Puck spit in his face. Now, we don't know how this situation actually began. When the cameras do come over to David, he is yelling at Puck, talking about how there was an instance where Puck's wife called him in the middle of the night after Puck had laid his hands on his wife. David was really frustrated with Puck, and then Puck spit in his face. David was furious, motioned for Puck to be thrown out of this game, thrown out of the house. He even called Jonathan Murray from Bunham Murray when he went to go escort Puck off the grounds. That's when everybody in the house rallied behind Puck and said, if he's being thrown out of this house, we are done. We are out of this game. And so that's when Murray was like, whatever, just go do the challenge. Everyone went to do the daily challenge. David was furious.
Why is people treating me like the spit came out of my mouth? Am I in the Twilight Zone?
Once the daily challenge was over and everyone was back to the house, that's when the incident was brought back up yet again, and Puck was trying to campaign to have David be the one to be voted off. David was done with this whole situation. He was done feeling attacked for something that happened to him. He was the one that got assaulted and got spit in his face, and now he's the one being chastised and crucified. So he decided to pack up all of his stuff before he could give everybody the satisfaction of voting him out of the house. Instead, he packed up his stuff, took control, and left. Now, we're not done with Battle of the Sexes, as there was 3 more instances of somebody wanting to quit or leave the game, and we're not done with Puck, because in episode 8, Puck's wife and kid came to the challenge house. They had a grand old time, but when they tried to leave, that's when they were detained at the airport because Puck's wife forgot her green card. Upon hearing this, Puck wanted to leave and go be by his wife's side to try to help smooth everything over, but the challenge producers detained him at the challenge house. This is when Puck went wild in episode 9, where he was like destroying the rooms, he was destroying people's personal properties, he found a machete and was brandishing it, threatening production if they didn't let him quit. So they let him pack up his stuff, they packed him up in a van, and he was gone in episode 9. Then in the next episode, in episode 10, Jake wanted to leave. He wanted to leave earlier in the day. He went through the whole episode. He actually even won the lifesaver. But at the end, when they had to vote somebody off, he said that he wanted to leave. He was away from his family for too long, longer than what he wanted to be. And then at the end of episode 15, / at the beginning of episode 16, upon hearing that Emily's boyfriend, James, was voted out by the men's inner circle, that's when she was like, hey, I'm just gonna leave with my boyfriend. Is that cool? I just want to go. We didn't have another instance of a quitter until a couple of seasons later, until we had Inferno 2, where we had Beth wanting to quit the game after Tanya threw her clothes all over the pool. And then when coming back from the Inferno, that's when Veronica and Rachel were coming at Beth. Beth just packed up her stuff, confided in Karamo that she wanted to leave, and that's when she packed up her stuff, put it all in a car, and was taken out of the game.
Have fun with your pocket change, and I hope you choke on it.
We didn't have to wait too long for the instance of the next quitter, as in season 11, Gauntlet 2, in episode 2, Joe wanted to leave. She was actually won into the rookie captain role, but then when hearing about all the rules and then the partying lifestyle, she just said, I'm out, I can't do this. And that's when she was packing up all of her stuff. Everyone was like gathering around her, trying to figure out what her deal was. And when in doing this, she decided to call the police on the house and ask them to come get her, escort her off the premise, and take her to the airport.
Do not get your cop cars in now! I will sue this island!
Then in episode 3, Cameron decided to put herself up as the nominee to go up against Kina in the elimination, but when getting to the elimination, she was like, look, I don't have it in me. There's so many people that want to be here more than I want to be here. So she said, I'm done, peacing out, and she disappoints TJ.
Is there anybody else that wants to quit? I just want to know right now because it's letting me down.
In episode 13, where the captain Beth was going up against Anissa in Beach Brawl, and that's when she was like, nope, I'm not doing this. This is like low class for me, and I don't want anything to do with this. So she pieced out of this joint. Later on, Beth took to Twitter saying how Anissa was bullying her in the house and that she wasn't gonna give Anissa the opportunity to put her hands on Beth and possibly punch her and hurt her. And the final instance of quitting that happened on the Gauntlet 2 came in the finals, where the veterans team bet the whole farm on the first portion of the finals, which was eating 12 pounds of roti. When they lost to the rookies in round 1, they figured that there was no way for them to come back, and so they forfeited the match and the finals and gave the rookies the win, which they rightfully won. It just left them very dismayed and also very anticlimactic to an ending of a challenge season. We had a few seasons in between with no quitters or anybody withdrawing from the game until we get to season 15, the Gauntlet 3, where we have Tyree on the rookies team, and early on in episode 3, he was on the phone with his girlfriend who was getting ready to have some major surgery. She was gonna get open heart surgery. He just felt mentally he could not go on through the game thinking about what his girlfriend was going through, so he took himself out of the game to go be by his girlfriend's side. Early on in the episode, we see that the veterans are colluding to trying to get Katie and Coral off their team. Coral gets wind of this, is feeling betrayed, feeling upset, especially towards Evan, who she felt was her best friend since Fresh Meat 2 when they were paired up with each other. Also, Coral that season was the outcast alongside Katie, and she was being treated terribly that season. So when it came down to her going into the elimination against Evelyn, she was like, I'm done. You know what? You don't want me here. I don't want to be here. Peace out. And so she packed up all of her stuff and she headed out. Season 16, episode 2 of The Island, we see Dave from the Real World Hollywood, and he is talking and he is saying that he does not want to be on the island anymore. All he wants is his girlfriend that he has met or known for a month and a half, some pizza, some ranch, and some Mountain Dew.
$80,000 for a slice of pizza and some ranch.
We have a few seasons in between until we get to Siobhan in Cutthroat in episode 3, where she was going into the elimination against Katie, and she felt disrespected by her team.
My team doesn't want me.
I heard enough.
And from this point on, now we're seeing like some quitting and withdrawing happening almost every season or every other season as we come into season 21, the finals, where we have Leroy and Mike. On day 2, Mike woke up and was feeling very sick from what happened in the first day of the finals. And so when coming up to having to scale a mountain, he just could not do it. He talked to Leroy. Leroy was okay with this decision, and so they decided to bow out, to get no money, but take home 3rd place in the Rivals finals. Then in episode 5 of The Challenge, season 23, Battle of the Seasons 2012, we have Camilla and Big Easy doing the water torture elimination against Devin and JD. Big Easy is getting super frustrated with how everything is going. He can't get underneath the water long enough. Camilla is frustrating the crap out of him, and that's when he decides to take matters into his own hands, and he decides to quit.
Yes, I'm down with the whole
and be done with it. Even though it looked like they were going to win that elimination, he decided he was done with it. He did not want to be a part of this elimination, this season, this team anymore, and he just decides to quit. Then in season 24, Rivals 2, we have Naomi, and she gets a call from back home saying that her dad was dealing with a heart failure and that the doctors were only giving him a week or 2 to live. Naomi packs up her stuff and leaves. Then in episode 3, this is where we see Trishelle. She's drunk. She is frustrated with Anissa and feels like she can get offended over anything. She says some ignorant, stupid crap.
Going and like being like, oh yeah, leave. That you are like,
gets into an altercation with Anissa. The next morning, Trishelle is like, I'm done with this. Trishelle decides to pack up all of her stuff. She gets into a rental car and then leaves. We move on to season 25, Free Agents, where we have Chet going up against Frank in the first elimination called Balls In. During one of the rounds, Chet injures his chin, getting a giant gash, where then the medical team looks at him, they bandage him up. Chet, not wanting to hurt his face anymore, decides he is just going to bow out. He doesn't want more gushing of the blood coming out of his chin. He doesn't want to risk further injuries, maybe infection, and he decides to leave instead of finishing off the elimination.
Why are you here? This is a challenge. This is America's Next Top Model.
And one of the more notorious quits, as it is one of the funniest quittings of the challenge, happened in Battle of the X's 2, season 26, the finals, where we have the rookie team of Jay and Jenna at the checkpoint. Don't flip your lid. You have to play flip cup with a whole bunch of pints of fish head juice. Jay is frustrated. He cannot do it. TJ has to come in, escort them off the properties as they quit the challenge because he can't drink the drink.
I can't drink the drink. I just can't drink it.
Season 28, Rivals 3, episode 4, we have Brandon, a rookie from Are You the One, who is severely missing his girlfriend.
What are you doing?
Dude, I miss you so much. You have no idea.
No, I seriously was just crying.
His partner Brianna does not like it whatsoever and wants him to stick it out.
Nobody cares that you have a girlfriend!
But once at the daily challenge, that's when he lets it be known that he does not want to be here anymore. He doesn't care if he's jeopardizing his partner's opportunity for money. All he cares about is how sad he is about missing his girlfriend and how upset his girlfriend is because she misses him.
No more hugs, let's go. Don't take care, hope to see you never.
But that's not it for Rivals 3. As we see later down the line in episode 6, Thomas gets a call from his girlfriend back home who is heading to the emergency room. He wants to take himself out of the game to be by her side. And so they withdrew themselves from season 28, Rivals 3. There was only one quit that happened in season 29, Invasion of the Champions, and it happened early on in the season, as in episode 3 we had Corey going up against Theo King Bradley in the Who's Got Balls elimination, trying to win their tickets into the Oasis. Now what you had to do was get up on this like little ledge on top of a tree, grab balls, and then jump off of it, and then do it the quickest. By the time Theo King Bradley got up there, he was done.
I quit, bro.
Damn it, you're done.
And this quit is rather iconic for the fact that once it was done, they had to lower Theo King Bradley very slowly back to the ground as he was like put into the bushes, and TJ was rather disappointed with him and told him to get out. He didn't want to see him anymore, and Theo King Bradley was fine with that. Now we're into the 30s, and can I just say there are a lot of quits and withdrawals that happened from Dirty 30 on. And we're gonna start off in episode 1 of Dirty 30, and that is Ashley, who once getting into the villa, she freaked out because the airport lost all of her luggage. So she decided to just leave in the night on episode 1.
Can we go, please?
Then a little bit later on in the season, we have Ammo going up against Jordan in the striptease elimination, which Ammo loses. And upon losing that elimination and trying to do the confessionals afterwards, he collapses, is taken off in an ambulance. But when we get to the point where he has to go to the redemption house, Marie shows up alone, wondering where Ammo is. Then a video comes up of Ammo saying that it would be best for him mentally to withdraw from the game and go back to New York to his life. Now in Vendettas, the challenge does like a Houdini trick with Eddie, as in episode 1, you can see him running up the Rock of Gibraltar, and then in the next instance, you don't see him whatsoever. Corey came out on Twitter around the time that that episode came out, saying that Alicia had a restraining order on Eddie, and because of that, they took him off of the season and then tried to edit around him. To me, that's more of a removal than a quit. Let's move on to an actual withdrawal, and that happened in episode 10 when it came out that Bananas and Kaylee shared a kiss, and upon feeling betrayed with Nelson and Natalie, the house rallied around them instead of Bananas and Kaylee, which then we had Kayla, Brittany, and Jemmy decide to come back from the bar, grab all of Kaylee's stuff and her bedding, and throw it off the balcony.
Probably shouldn't have thrown her stuff over the balcony, but
That was stupid.
Once the elimination of Devin and Bananas was over, that's when Kaylee was like, I'm going to pull myself and withdraw myself from the competition, and so she left in episode 10 of vendettas. Final Reckoning was one of the longest seasons in challenge history, yet nobody left or quit. But we move on to season 33, which also would not have a quitter until the finals in day 1, where we have Maddie, who physically cannot go anymore. And so she sat down and told Ninja Natalie that she was done. She confirmed with TJ that she is pulling herself out of the game, which TJ then says, "You gotta quit smoking."
Just so you know, you're a really good competitor. You just have to quit smoking cigarettes, all right? Don't be a idiot.
We have 2 withdrawals happening in season 34, War of the Worlds 2. The first one being Zahida, where it was announced at the Daily Challenge that Zahida got a phone call from home saying that her grandmother had died and that she wanted to be with her family during this tough and troubling times. So she packed up her stuff and left. Then later on in episode 2, we have the UK team being very loud during the middle of the night, and nobody screws with Faith's sleep cycle. So once everyone was finally asleep, she decided to grab all the pots and pans, trying to wake up the specific core group that was keeping her awake and her room awake, but she woke up the whole house. And then at the elimination, that's when TJ announces that Faith withdrew herself.
Moving on
to season 35, Total Madness, all the way up to the finals, where we have Melissa going up against Casey in the final elimination. But before they could begin, that's when Melissa tells everyone that, look, this has been really tough on me. I can't push my body to go anymore, so I am going to quit.
You've seen this show before, right?
And good thing too, because once she got down to the hospital and was checked out, they notified her that she was pregnant. And that could have turned out terribly if she were to go into that elimination or go further into the finals. But it's not over yet, as we move on from after Melissa had left the finals and after Bananas won against Rogan in the final elimination. That's when Bailey tells TJ that she was done. Earlier on in the finals, she had hurt her knee.
I think I pulled my MCL when I was skiing earlier.
All right, it's on you. You know that.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Not wanting to risk any more injury, and she was just done. And so Bailey was withdrawing from the game. And here we are at season 36, Double Agents, episode 6, where we have Leo, who we learn grew up in a group home.
I stayed in a group home for a little bit.
Yeah.
So like waking up like with like strangers is sometimes that kind of like freaks me out.
And just being in the challenge house, waking up in the morning in this environment really gave him triggers. And in this time also, this is early days of the pandemic, and he was worried about his pregnant wife and wanted to be there with her through this time. And with all those factors, Leo thought that it would be best for him and his mental health if he were to leave the game, and that was the best option for him. Then we move on to episode 11 of Double Agents, where we have Lolo leaving the game. Now, this could be having an asterisk next to this, as she came out on Twitter saying that the challenge producers forced her to leave. But when compiling this list, I have to go with what was shown on the screen, and it looked like she was quitting / withdrawing from the game.
I've been blocked from competing. The people I trusted the most in this game wouldn't even give me a shot. I'm trying to train for the Olympics and, represent Team USA, so I'm gonna leave.
And I know with this list, I majorly stayed with the main seasons of the challenge, but I have to talk about what happened in the Challenge All-Stars season, episode 4, with Arissa, as she let the house have it. When Mark used the lifesaver to save Katie, that's when the house voted to send in Arissa against Beth, and before she could go into the elimination of Wall Brawl, that's when she took the helmet off. That's when she let the house have it, and then she said she quit. She was out of this. She was peacing out.
So fuck you. I'm done. Y'all can kiss my motherfucking ass. And that's the motherfucking game.
Now, when that episode aired, Arissa went out on Twitter giving her side of the story, as she said that she was having a miserable time in the house, mainly due to her celiac disease. She has a severe form where even the smallest bit of cross-contamination will make her stomach hurt and she will be in pain. So she felt like she was being disrespected with the food situation. She felt like she was being starved. She wasn't feeling the greatest. So when this act of betrayal happened, this was the straw that broke the camel's back, and she decided she was going to just leave and not be a part of this, because even if she won against Beth, she didn't want to go back into the house and feel this way over and over and over again. So she was just done, and she quit on her own terms. But that is it for everyone who has quit or withdrawn from a season of the challenge. What did you think about this list? Let me know that in the comment section below. Which out of these lists is the one that blows your mind as like the most pathetic reason to quit the challenge? Let me know that in the comment section below. And what was your favorite TJ's response to them quitting? I want to know anything and everything you thought about this down in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be back really, really soon with more challenge content, more content in general. But until then, peace.